I am Nahid Kabbani, and this is the Lighthouse for today's viewers. Welcome to our show. I invite you today to share with Salam Center their 25th anniversary, celebrating what they've done within that 25 years and having vision for building a better higher education center for the next 25 years. They did a lot. You can watch it now, and I hope you will enjoy it.
And now a view from one of our students, someone who will actively use the center and for whom we will try to have specific programs. Sister Ria Ali has been a long-time presence here at Salam, and when she's not working hard at the weekend school, and even when she is, she's studying hard. I look forward to hearing her thoughts on how she would like to see or how she envisions the center serving students.
Good evening, everybody. Salam Alaikum. I'd like to start first by thanking you, Sister Anne, for giving me this opportunity to speak here tonight. I'm really honored. Thank you again. Taking into account Salam's achievements in the past as they are relative to its future, envisioning how the Center for Higher Islamic Learning will interact with students is truly a twofold process. This vision not only requires a true understanding of the importance of the acquisition of knowledge in Islam, but also invites ideas and aspirations to encourage such an attainment. From the very first word of revelation of the Quran, Iqra, or read, God continues to remind believers that seeking knowledge is the best way to attain success in this world and the hereafter. Although the mind of a human being, even the most intelligent of minds, will never be able to truly contend with the wisdom of God, it still falls as an obligation upon each person to seek knowledge. The word student itself is not limited to a person between the ages of 5 and 18, or 18 and 22, or even 22 and 28. A person remains a student as long as they are learning. As active-minded individuals, we're constantly engaged in this process of learning. Therefore, by virtue, each of us in this room here today is a student. In light of that, I envision the center to create a hub of intellectual stimulation that nurtures the zeal of learning for all those that wish to pursue it. My hope is that the center will provide a source of learning to a wide audience that through not only its present programs, the Intro to Islam courses on Saturdays, the Sami Youth Program, our renowned Ramadan program, our Salam Academy, and the Weekend School, but also through upcoming future programs, namely the Sharif Family Community Library. Without a doubt, as a student, the most anticipated part of Phase 3 of the masjid is the very library itself. I say this to you with a special event that recently happened. It's personal, but a few weeks ago, as we all know, it was November 12th, Veterans Day. For most of us, that's what it is. It's a national holiday, but for students, it's a no-school day. Needless to say, of course, one of my professors scheduled a midterm that following Tuesday. So over the weekend, my classmates and I contemplated locations where we could go and study. My first instinct was to mention Salam. I knew it would be open, it would be quiet, and it would be a perfect place to study. With that in mind, and the continuing success of the furnishing and development of the library, my hope is that the library will lend itself as just that location that students could go to for all educational purposes. Truly, libraries are at the heart of seeking knowledge. The library will hold material that first provides extensive and authentic resources of Islamic knowledge, and then further extends itself by providing information on a variety of topics. In such a way, should any contemporary issues arise, our community is well equipped with credible resources to gain an understanding of these issues and other related current events. In light of Salam's interfaith efforts, I also hope that the library would contain material that describes religions beyond Islam. In such a way, the library will provide for students material to demystify some commonly held misconceptions, as well as encompass a well-rounded approach to understanding religion. Our purpose should not limit itself to providing only Islamic learning, but learning at large. To further support students, I foresee a continued trend of providing scholarships to deserving students. This year, the Salam community was honored by scholarships provided by Professors Ayad Al-Kazaz and Professors Mitwali and Rosalie Amir. I would hope that other individuals who are able to sponsor students in such a positive manner follow suit. I also foresee a frenzy of volunteer activities stemming from the Center's efforts of providing higher Islamic learning. Through organized events and field trips ranging from getting on board with Muslims Without Borders and possibly even organizing a trip to Saudi Arabia for students to experience Umrah, my hope is that the Center will serve as the backbone of inspiration for our students to develop their personal and professional experiences. It is through these hands-on activities that students receive the opportunity to truly experience learning by doing. By providing endless opportunities to the students that visit Salam, I hope that the center will continue to be the place where all students feel welcome without any barriers, engage in intellectual conversations, and carry those ideas and implement them into activities that serve to better our community. Ultimately, it is the very trust that Salam places in its members to excel, both young and older, that truly empowers its community. Thank you. Jazakallah khair.
Our next speaker hardly needs any introduction. Professor Rosalie Amar is a founding member of Salam, is an emeritus librarian from Los Rios Community College, where she still teaches Islamic studies classes. She is chair of our library committee, where we count on her expertise, and is actively involved in interfaith education. Professor Rosalie will continue the theme of how the center might serve local college faculty and students, and may also touch on some of the interfaith functions. Professor Rosalie.
Assalamu alaikum. So I want to thank Sister Ann, Dr. Ann, for all of her outstanding coordinating efforts for tonight's event. And this is number 3 in a line of 25th anniversary celebrations, and she's done a marvelous job. So I don't want to repeat a lot of what you've already said. As Ann mentioned in the introduction, I am part of the Los Rios Community College District, but I'm not across the street. I'm down south. I'm down at Casamdas River College, and I've been there for over 40 years, and I'm still there. And for a short time, I was an adjunct at CSUS and in Humanities and Religious Studies, developing 2 courses, one in Intro to Islam and Cultures of the Islamic World. I also have developed a course in the history of the Middle East, which is part of the Casamdas River College Global Studies program, and from both the humanities course that I teach and the history of the Middle East, I will say that I've gleaned a lot of knowledge about what is important in teaching those subjects, and I can see our library here serving that function. I also have been involved with the Library of Alexandria. I continue to be in Egypt and hope that everything is peaceful there. And there's a wealth of experience that I've had over there that I've brought here. And as you go into our library, into the Sharif Family Community Library, you'll see a photo. And it's a photo of students at the Biblioteca Alexandrina studying. And every time I see that photo, and I captured it over there, I think of our students here, and I want to sort of replicate the grandeur of that place right here, the Biblioteca Alexandrina West. So with that in mind, we have so many disciplines and programs in our local colleges and universities which potentially can use the center and span courses in the humanities, and we've mentioned all that, and I'm going to throw in ethics in there, and moral development. Amin brought that in, how important that is. And I'm going to put here in music. If one is studying the sound of Quranic recitation in Arabic, you want to know how to do that. You want to listen to it. as well as in technical and professional programs like architecture, in studying how a mosque might be designed, in architectural design, those techie programs that the community colleges have. And our students have been involved in that right here. And in landscape architecture, they may not come here to look at an Islamic garden, or maybe one day we'll have an Islamic garden, but they certainly can come to find resources about how to create beautiful gardens and get a lot of knowledge from that legacy that spans the world. In the social sciences, anthropology, cultural anthropology, sociology, unfortunately Ayatollah Kazaz isn't here tonight, or he would have addressed a lot in that discipline. Cultural geography, political science, international relations, ethnic studies, gender studies, business administration, and last but not least, history. And history is an auxiliary component of all disciplines. And we can connect to that from an Islamic framework. In the behavioral sciences, in psychology and counseling, that's so important in developing sound family relations. In language and literature, particularly Arabic. In graduate programs, in education, in law. You know, we have McGeorge School of Law, and a colleague over there comes to one of my classes and gives lectures. It's a political lecture, but I know he could have some of his students probably come here if we had the right materials dealing with Islam and law, or situations of conflict in the Middle East that need peace resolution. Interdisciplinary studies and peace studies. I'll mention that in just a bit. And criminal justice, we haven't dealt with that, even though that's one of the major things that Islam has been involved with and has received a lot of awards. We have good community contacts and connections in that. And then science is the history of science and the history of mathematics, and how Islam and the Arabs and the Iranians and people who are Muslim in the world have created wonderful thoughts in those disciplines. And the role of the Muslim Students Associations, both at American River and at Casamas River. Two of us are advisors to the MSA, and the MSAs know this place, and I know my people in the South always say that's so far north to go on the freeway. We're not across the street like American River is with the green light. We have a lot of red lights, but we also have green lights. So that's something to really get involved in. Now, the Sharif family and their legacy, they have created a space, they have invested in that space, and we look forward to the development of it. And as you realize when you go in there, that the library shelving has been purchased and is now installed. Our Salam Library Committee has developed the library mission and the purpose of the collection. So we've been working on that over 3 years. And the materials that we have are, some of them will be traditional. We still will probably have some hard copy books because we have shelving for at least 10,000 of them. Now, local libraries have a lot. You know, local libraries have hundreds of thousands and maybe even 1 million. And Anne is standing up. And so the collection development thrust of the library, it will be in Quranic and Sunnah studies in Muslim spirituality and the spectrum of Islamic history and civilization as it circles the world. And I want to mention Central Asia in this because we haven't addressed Central Asia and South Asia. And also running around to Latin America, Central and Southern, and the Muslim experience in this country. And we mustn't forget Islamic values and etiquette, including adab, behavior. And in a liberal sense, humanism began in medieval Baghdad and moved to southern Spain and impacted regions of the world and we'll address that in the collections, and peace studies and venues with a Muslim thrust. And this is a unique area. There are few peace studies collections in the world, and it'd be wonderful to have that. Are you there with that? In the sphere of political issues, democracy, political processes, human rights, and discrimination, bridging current developments will be an area for acquisition. So we will also have gender perspectives in women's studies, hot topics, family relation structure and parenting, materials supporting Arabic language instruction, and cuisine and halal cooking. And one last statement, down the road, it won't be soon, but down the road we want to develop a curriculum resource center for public and private teachers who can check out materials on Islam and Islamic civ for their school needs. There is a wonderful center like this in Jewish heritage in San Francisco, and it's a wonderful curriculum resource development, and I hope eventually we can do that within an Islamic framework. And so I want to thank you for asking me and for letting me exceed my time. Thank you.
It's easy to get lost in that vision of the library, and I sure wish it were here now rather than something we're looking forward to. We now move to our friends in the interfaith community. A major goal of the center, as you see on these cards, is to provide information and outreach to interfaith groups. Dr. David Thompson is currently pastor of The Experience, a new place of worship in Sacramento, which, in their own words, provides a gathering place to understand and explore the wisdom of all religions. Dr. Thompson is a longtime friend of Salam and has always graciously provided us thought-provoking ideas. And so I am happy to ask Dr. Thompson to come on up.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for inviting me here on your 25th anniversary celebration grand finale. Now there's a legend that above the bookshelves in the ancient Library of Alexandria were the following words: the place for the cure of the soul. What a vision! As books from all over the world were brought together in one place, before the Library of Alexandria, libraries usually reflected just the books from within one's own borders. But after the acquisition policies of Alexandria, the concept of a world library was born, and it's in the world libraries that we find the place for the cure of the soul. The Quran teaches us that the world is God's masjid, and that a Muslim may pray anywhere in the world, for the world is God's temple and creation. Michael Hamilton Morgan, author of The Enduring Legacy of Muslim Scientists, Thinkers, and Artists, says that during the 750 years from the founding of the caliphates in Baghdad and Cordoba, and later in Cairo, right up to the 1500s, the intellectual roots of modern Western mathematics, astronomy, chemistry, physics, and medicine were kept alive and prospered in centers of Muslim learning. When all around them was intellectual darkness, the great Muslim cities and centers of learning kept the flame of civilization alive. Empirical thinking, the questioning of assumptions, research, and experimentation were defended by political elites of Sunni and Shiite. The Quran noted that, quotes, the ink of the scholar is holier than the blood of the martyr. Oh, that Osama bin Laden had read that part of the Quran. That's the tradition that keeps Salam alive today. I'm particularly delighted, and we'll find the very useful section of the Interfaith and World Knowledge collections in the library. From science and tech to environmental studies, the environmental crisis will be the greatest crisis humanity has ever had to deal with. It will require all the arts, sciences, sociology, you can name it. Salam could lead that. There's a great vacuum in the interfaith community. We need you to pick up that baton. Salam has, from its foundation, resisted the idea that Islam is advanced by insularity. Rather, what we see here at the Salam Mosque is a continued emphasis on being open to the whole wide world of learning, to interfaith cooperation, and an emphasis on our common humanity. The very fact tonight that Michael Moran and I are here today is strong testimony to the openness of this mosque. How would we recommend as interfaith leaders that this facility be used? I think the precedent was set when Dr. Willie Ammer and Michael Moran got together in leadership of their respective communities and permitted spiritual life to celebrate Easter here. That took a huge leap of faith and, in my view, moved the entire interfaith community forwards. Along the same lines, here are some ideas from me, and I want you to take them with several pinches of salt. Open up the Friday prayers in the masjid from time to time for community faith leaders to speak on your invitation on a more regular basis. Listen respectfully to what you might disagree with and rejoice in what's common between the faiths. There is nothing to fear except that you might expect opposition when a wall comes down between faiths. Continue to do what you do best, which is to build bridges of understanding, and continue to do that fearlessly. Open up the lecture, auditorium, hall facilities to the public for anything that's loving and kind and cares for the betterment of society as a whole. If you can give away the facilities without charge, do so. That goodness will rebound to you. As interfaith leaders, we always need places that are controversial and newsworthy in the best sense of that word. And that's why the Easter precedent was so important and made headlines. Whatever is done in a mosque that builds bridges between faiths makes the news. The Jewish king Solomon made in his Judaic temple in Jerusalem a court for the Gentiles, so that the stranger might worship God in the very heart of Judaism. It was a great idea, one you might incorporate into your vision from another group of people of the book. How might you manifest that idea? A special space set aside? An interfaith worship service once a month or once a quarter here in Salam, perhaps in the masjid itself. The interfaith iftars are a brilliant idea. Your idea of interfaith leaders speaking at these events as well as being places for Muslim teaching is commendable. The resources of Islam are important for people who don't follow Quranic teachings. Having interfaith resources that teach all children, particularly about the various faiths, including Islam, presenting them in a neutral format could be very useful for other faiths teaching their children about other religions. Opening up your facilities for fundraising, for good causes, for people of other faiths could be a real winner. If the cause is one you wholly support, make a gift of food, as the Sikh community always does. It will not go unnoticed. Make sure in your vision that the learning that goes on here is not only academic, but practical higher learning, caring about the poor, the widow, the homeless, the disadvantaged. Kindness, as Aung San Suu Kyi has just mentioned, and hospitality, which you are ready to do, are already part of that highest learning, especially when kindness is accorded to both the enemy and the stranger. Ask how we might open our center to the homeless poor. How can the center be a resource for things like Loaves and Fishes, St. Francis House, my sister's house, and women's empowerment? They always need financial help. And then, under the present leadership and guiding principles you've already established, Salam will continue to be the place for the cure of the soul. The blessing of Allah be upon you.
I am pleased now to hear from the Reverend Michael Moran, also known to many of you as the Voice. He is the voice on some of our videos. The Reverend is recently retired, if they allow him. I understand that may not be possible, as head pastor at the Spiritual Life Center, an organization that has always been supportive of Salam. I look forward to hearing his thoughts on how the interfaith community can make use of the center.
Thank you, Anne. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Well, I had a feeling that if I followed David Thompson, all I need to say is what he said, because he said it so well, and so I'm not going to cover a lot of the things David said. But I did want to mention that when I first became aware of Salam, which was in 1998, 1998, when my late wife Faith and I founded Spiritual Life Center, I kept running into Dr. Metwali Ammer. And I really didn't know many Muslims up until that point. But I could see that he was well-liked and well-respected, and he made himself available to the community on a regular basis. And I noticed that if it was prayer time, he would quietly excuse himself from the meeting and attend to his prayers. And I was very impressed by that because he bore his faith very naturally and very humbly. He was building interfaith bridges way back when interfaith was very rare, especially among Christians and Muslims and Jews. I came to find out that in a discussion with Dr. Metwally and Professor Rosalie that that principle of cooperation in education was really one of the founding principles of Salam, that it was meant to be a bridge between the Muslim world and the rest of the world, and was very open to Muslims and non-Muslims alike, and that really attracted me. As I got to know more Muslims through my involvement with Salam, any remaining stereotypes that I had fostered, prejudices I still harbored about Muslims, were quickly dissolving. Because I found, because of your openness and your hospitality, I found friends here, I found family here, I found hope here. Hope for a future where we can all come together, honor our own religious traditions and cultural traditions, and yet show respect for those outside of our individual circles. It was that vision of Dr. Metwally and Professor Rosalie and the founders of Salam that they had many years ago, a vision that has continued to unfold into one of the most progressive and impressive Islamic educational centers anywhere. A vision that has broadened and become sharper every single year. As I look to the future for Salam, the center of learning, I see people of every race and color and creed feeling at home here, as I have always felt at home here, feeling the hospitality that Salam has become known for. I envision interfaith dialogues, spirited yet respectful discussions as we learn from and about each other's faiths and cultures, and find ways to work together for the common good. You know, if we sincerely want peace for the future, we must begin now. And this is the point I want to make tonight, because we've talked about higher education, which I think is very, very important. But I believe that we have to start at the beginning with our very young children. It's the only way, I believe, that Salam can be a leader in breaking down the stereotypes and prejudices, but we have to do it very early on in the young people's lives, by finding ways or creating ways to bring kids of different faiths and cultures together for projects and for worship and for play, perhaps summer camps here on the grounds, and the purpose being not for conversion, but for the transformation of our society and of our world. You know, the ancient hatreds in us began very early. I was listening the other day as I was thinking about what I was going to talk about, and I came across a YouTube with Mandy Patinkin singing a song from South Pacific, and it's called "You've Got to Be Carefully Taught." You've got to be carefully taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught from year to year. It's got to be drummed in your dear little ear. Oh, you've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught to be afraid of people whose eyes are oddly made, and people whose skin is of a different shade. Oh, you've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught before it's too late, before you're 6 or 7 or 8, to hate all the people your relatives hate. Oh, you've got to be carefully taught. We must educate our youth if we are to have a future that is different than the present that we have right now. And I believe that Salam can take a lead in not only the Muslim world, but in our community, to reach out to children of all faiths and show what different faiths of Islam than our children have seen on TV or perhaps have heard from others. It won't be easy, but you've already done it. After the tragedy of 9/11, the children of Salam and the children of Spiritual Life Center came together. And they talked, and they sang together, and they appeared in plays together. They shared meals, they played with one another, they laughed together, they cried together, they visited each other's houses of worship, and the walls came down. The children of Spiritual Life Center have never been the same, because the walls of fear and suspicion and ignorance were breached back then. And now when somebody criticizes Muslims, our kids speak up. And they say, wait a minute, that's not true. I have Muslim friends, and they are not like that. I've heard this over and over. When I look to the future of Salam, I see a place where men and women and children grow spiritually as they come to know God, where they become aware of the beauty in themselves and in others and experience our common humanity, where hospitality is generously extended to the greater community as you have always done, even to the point of opening your home to a mostly Christian community at Easter. My vision for Salam for the next 25 years is one of great joy. A Catholic priest by the name of Father Teilhard Chardin said joy is the infallible sign of the presence of God. And I believe that I've experienced that joy every time that I've been in this beautiful, beautiful center that I've watched come up from a trailer to the beautiful facility that it is today. May the Salam of the future continue to be a place of joy and sharing and hospitality and learning and connecting and beauty and healing and peace. When I look to the future for Salam, I need sunglasses because it's very, very bright. God bless you all.
Our next speaker has also worked quite a bit with the interfaith community, where he has often been the face of Salam at events. However, he has also been a long-time Salam community fixture, really, and has been extensively involved in the Council of Sacramento Valley Islamic Organization, or COSVIO, a Sacramento-wide council that aims to coordinate activities among mosques in the area. Dr. Irfan Haq will share with us the important perspective of how the center will benefit the greater Sacramento Muslim community.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace, blessings, mercy of God, and all good things to all of you. I greet you with greetings of peace, and I wish you happiness, success, and prosperity. I want to thank my friends from the interfaith community, John Fish, Michael Moran, Dr. Thompson, Ron from the Jewish community, and others who are here for blessing us with your presence on this occasion. I was asked to speak on the Salam Center and the role it will have in terms of impacting the Muslim community and benefiting the Muslim community. So let me go back to the origin. When the Quran was being revealed, the first verses of the Quran that Almighty God revealed said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Iqra bismi rabbika allazi khalaq, khalaqa al-insana min alaq, Iqra wa rabbuka al-akram, allazi allama bil-qalam, allama al-insana ma lam ya'lam. These were the 5 verses through which began the great revelation of the Noble Quran. What do these verses mean? God says, proclaim or read in the name of your Lord, who created man out of an embryo. Proclaim, read, and your Lord is most bountiful. He who taught the use of the pen, who taught the human being what he or she knew not. So the beginning of Islam as a faith and God's revelation is conjoined with the use of the pen and the use of knowledge, that God gave us knowledge. Then the second set of verses again which were revealed in the Quran was the Surah Al-Qalam, in which God swears by the pen. This is simply to point out the intimate connection that faith, Islam, has with knowledge, and how God talks about knowledge right from the beginning. And so, knowledge, the use of the pen, is one of the greatest gifts the merciful God has given to us. And this gift of intellect, of the use of the pen, of knowledge, has been the source of pride of human beings. So the human role in life is what? Is to create a better world. Is to create a better world based on God's love, His mercy, His generosity, and structured on the basis of justice, human freedoms, ability to pursue happiness, with opportunities for the betterment of all. The human role is to serve God. Not just to love, but to serve God and not just to love humanity, but to serve humanity. So God's vision is one of a peaceful world, the world of Salam, a world based on mutual understanding, where one can understand and appreciate God's teachings and gifts, become a person who's useful and productive, a person of gratitude and humility, who walks softly on earth. In a world of stereotypes and ignorance and misunderstandings and Islamophobia, there is a need for the truth to be spoken, to be said. And Salam Center and its Center for Higher Understanding can play a major role there. In the Sacramento area, my friends, between Davis and Folsom and Rockland and Elk Grove, there are 15 mosques and Islamic centers. And every year you have a couple of new mosques emerging. There's over 100,000 Muslims in this area. So this can become a very important source of information, of knowledge for the Muslim community in the greater Sacramento area. The center has been and will continue to provide opportunities for all people so they can come and learn, grow intellectually, increase in their spirituality, benefit from its resources, and reach out to others, connect with others, so that truth can be understood and shared with others. In the end, it is about sharing the truth of God with others. It will provide power. Knowledge, my friends, is power. And this is why God talks about it in the Noble Quran. That it provides power to those who seek. In Arabic, they say, man talaba wajada, one who seeks find. So those who will seek will find. And they will have the ability to share the knowledge that they'll get, to share God's love and mercy, to create a better world. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said in one of his very key sayings, seeking knowledge is obligatory on Muslim males and females. This is the importance he gave to knowledge and his learning. So I hope and pray that in the years to come, the Muslim community will use the Salam facilities to benefit themselves, to benefit others, to create a better world, a peaceful world. And I want to thank all those who have contributed in building the center, in particular its library, in particular Dr. Amir and Rosalie and the Sharif family. May God bless them with health and happiness and a great life. And all those who have shared their resources to build this loving center. God bless you. Thank you.
And last but certainly not least is Dr. Meswali Amar, an important founding member of Salam and a man who put me up to organizing the events over this whole year. But working with Dr. Meswali has been a humbling experience as I see him work every day to promote Salam's vision, to promote Islamic teachings, understanding, and unity among Muslims and others in the Sacramento area. As much as I've read and worked on Salam materials, I'm always delighted to hear Dr. Amar's thoughts and visions about Salam. Dr. Amar.
Wow, what great ideas. And I'm glad we're recording all of those ideas. Assalamu alaikum, fellow Muslims and friends. First of all, I wish to express my deepest appreciation to Dr. Ann for her effectiveness in planning and executing the 25th anniversary throughout this year. Also, our sincere gratitude is due to all the volunteers who made this evening the way it is. This finale event concludes our celebration of two accomplishments. What Salam did during the last 25 years, and what Salam will do during the coming phase of its services. What Salam did can be summed up in the fact that it distinguished itself to be an American Islamic center with these unique qualities. Its presence has been felt as an active religious force in our society. It has followed the middle-of-the-road approach in its practice of Islam. Its open-door policy attracted Muslims and non-Muslims to consider Salam as their home. Its management is professional, its government is democratic, and its financial statements are audited annually. Why are you laughing? Only an accountant would say that.
Yes. It has been providing relevant spiritual, educational, and social services to all users who come to Salam to satisfy their daily needs. Its progress has been the result of joint efforts by men, women, and youth. What Salam will do during the next phase revolves around its intention to embark on putting into action all your vision, which we hear tonight, of what the Center of Higher Islamic Learning should be. But we are also planning to embark on various new projects and activities that are now feasible after the completion of the infrastructure of our Islamic Center. I'm really excited about the education and learning potentials of the Center for Higher Islamic Learning, especially among college students who may motivate their faculty to be involved in spiritual avenues in their search for solving our contemporary problems. I remember 15 years ago, I was a faculty advisor of a master's degree in accounting student who wanted badly to write a project in something from the Quran. I think it was Accountancy 299. Sister Wendy might know that. He asked me to supervise the project and help him choosing the topic. He conducted research around the use of the concept of personal accountability in the Quran and found out a good number of verses dealing with this concept. He directed his attention to the scholarly interpretation of the words used in various surahs or chapters in the Quran. It was a good piece of research finding. Of course, Salam Center for Higher Islamic Learning will be the home for similar research projects. Faculty members in several fields and disciplines can initiate some of their research on contemporary issues facing our society using a multi-interfaith spiritual approach in exploring new ways to searching them. Issues like forgiveness, human equality, capital punishment, human relations, interfaith cooperation, and respect of religions are some of the topics that can occupy the research inquisitiveness of faculty and students. With library collections that will soon be available at the center, and the human resources will be available, and I understand what you said about the availability of knowledgeable people in Islam to answer the questions of our visitors. That will be done. The center is poised to play an important role in the advancement of interfaith contribution in solving some of our contemporary problems. May God Almighty continue blessing the efforts of those entrusted for managing Salam to continue doing their noble task within the framework of truth, justice, and equality. Amen.
And that concludes our program. I want to thank you all for sitting through the whole program. I think we learned a lot of really exciting ideas that are going to help guide us in our future plans and committees. I have to say, this evening when I put a call out for people to come and speak, normally I expect maybe 10-15% not to come. Everybody except for one accepted. So to me, that is a reflection of the enthusiasm that the community has for us, and for that I'm very, very grateful. And as a result, I'm grateful for your patience to sit through all this. What we will do is go ahead and play the video. If you'd like to stay and watch it, we'll start it in about 1 minute, give people a chance to get up and move around and leave if they so wish. Otherwise, this video was made for our first event in February 2012, and I think you'll enjoy seeing again some of the early expression that we hope for the center. Again, thank you very much, and drive safely. Good night.
There are those whose horizons are limited by the present and its problems. And there are those whose horizons are boundless by the future with all of its potentials. It is the latter that reflects the vision of the founders of Salam, which has become a shining example for what an American Islamic Center should be. This video tells the story of that vision as we celebrate the 25th anniversary of Salam. What started as a dream has become a reality for an institution standing tall as a role model for others to emulate.
Salam, which stands for the Sacramento Area League of Associated Muslims, was founded 25 years ago on February 24, 1987. Its mission is to provide religious, educational, and recreational services for the community through a functionally designed Islamic center. A 2.5-acre piece of property was purchased in June 1993 to establish Salam Islamic Center. It had 2 old houses and a fruit orchard. It was planned to be built in 3 phases over time. Phase 1 involved improving the frontage, building a sidewalk, the green fence, installing 2 gates, and the front parking lot. It started in June 1996 and was completed in 3 months. 2 36 by 60-foot square trailers were purchased to meet the need of Salam's new congregation.
What a beautiful memory. We let the American River College continue using the big house as a daycare center to cultivate good relations with our neighbors. The small house became the headquarters of Salam to perform all its activities in 2 rooms and a kitchen. We used 1 trailer for the daily prayers, for a library, and for large meetings. Our Friday congregation started with 15 Muslims in November 1997. The second trailer was used exclusively for classes of the weekend school.
Phase 2 was built to house an education and community center. The construction started in April 2001 and was completed in February 2002. It includes the weekend and elementary schools, the community hall, the conference room, administrative offices, the commercial kitchen, and the main parking lot.
What a joyful grand opening. When we performed Eid al-Adha prayer in the community hall, our weekend students started their schooling in their new home. With the increase of our congregation, we moved Friday prayer to the community hall. The elementary and preschools began in the fall of 2005. The community hall has become the place for social events.
Phase 3 was built to house the masjid, or mosque, and the Center for Higher Islamic Learning. The groundbreaking was on March 29, 2008, and it was completed on October 25, 2010. The masjid is on the 2nd floor to ensure serenity in connection with God. The Center for Higher Islamic Learning is on the 1st floor to be easily accessible for multi-users. It includes key facilities to achieve the goals of the programs for Islamic education and knowledge. The auditorium caters to the growing need for a variety of community programs such as seminars, panel discussions, lectures, town hall meetings, and press conferences. The Sharif Family Community Library serves as the intellectual hub for research by youth, adults, and community users. It is the heart and mind of the Center of Higher Islamic Learning. It is a user-friendly and inviting place to access library materials and information on the religion of Islam, its culture, civilization, and legacy in the world. Users can do research on Islamic subjects and surf the net for related resources. Community users include students and faculty from high schools, colleges, universities, and interfaith congregations. The demand for Islamic materials has grown significantly among both Muslims and non-Muslims, so we included a book and gift shop to fill that need. The new Center for Higher Islamic Learning has other facilities, including a conference room, a cafeteria, a sister lounge, and a fitness room, all serving the community at large.
The construction of Phase 3 culminates the Islamic Center, which has 3 dimensions: religion, education, and recreation. The masjid provides the congregation with a place to worship and to connect. The Center for Higher Islamic Learning provides the community with Islamic knowledge at a higher level. The social facilities bring people together for recreational activities to enrich their sense of belonging. During the construction of Phase 3, there was great anticipation by the Salam community.
From day one, the leaders of Salam have had this awesome vision of what Salam is going to become, and it's going to be really nice to actually see it come into place. It's going to allow us to use more areas of the facility for different things. So right now, we have to share classrooms between the full-time school and the weekend school, and lectures and conferences. At that time, we'll be able to use the conference center for adult lectures. We'll be able to have a larger library where college students and high school students can come and study. And myself, I would love to come there and just study Islam as well. So I'm really excited about it.
This facility, Salam Phase 3, has to be more than just a prayer hall or a worship place. It has to be a thriving learning center which provides a lot of educational activities to the community at large, provide a lot of social activities for the youth, for the sisters, for the brothers, a lot of other community services. In fact, basically this center has to cater to the needs of the community at large. And when I say community at large, it means Muslims, non-Muslims, young, old, sisters, brothers, you know, and be a part of the community.
Every single inch, every single compartment in the building has been thought of, and you know, the functionality has been analyzed and scrutinized in detail. So we kind of sat together and we asked ourselves, what is it that we need as a Muslim community if we were to build a mosque and spend $4 million on it? And we gathered this information from hundreds of people, you know, over a couple of years. And gradually, you know, there are certain things that, you know, stuck out. There are certain needs that we realized, you know, people had. And based on those needs, we started, you know, constructing our building. I think it will be a dream that has come true. I think the anticipation has been building up in this community for years. I think that every single man, woman, and child in this community yearns so much to see that day. And I think that will take, you know, Islam and Muslims in America to a completely different level, because what Salam stands for is really the way of the future. And we're hoping that all the other mosques in the area and in other parts of this nation will follow suit.
I just can only close my eyes and I can just feel a satisfaction at heart, a place where we can sit and just reflect on yourself, a place which is dedicated prayer hall, which is not a makeshift prayer hall, and you can go any time of the day, you can sit down, you can do your worship, you can sit down and think and reflect. And I really feel that it will be one of the best feelings for not only just myself, for all of the associates that are with me, all of our community members, all of the people that have been watching this thing grow. We just cannot wait for the day to come.
This is Salam of today. It is unique in many ways. It prides itself of being the multi-ethnic center. It has empowered women to be equal to men in doing their duties. It invested in youth to prepare them for their leading role in the future. It opened its doors to the public and media to visit and find answers. It is part of the community at large and reaches out to share their moments of happiness and their moments of sadness. During the last 25 years, we built a structure. During the next 25 years, the new mission will focus on providing projects and activities that will make Salam distinct in serving the community. Our new dream is to have the new generation of Muslim Americans celebrate the 50th anniversary. At the time, they will remember those who built Salam. May God bless Salam, and may God bless America.
I hope that you enjoyed the show. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.